Right. A lot of people don't know, and I had a guest reach out to me, Ali D. You did some work on his album.
Ali D, I believe so. Yeah.
Said you laid some
What's
scratches
up, man?
down.
Huh?
He said you laid some scratches down on his.
Yeah, Ali D. He went on to do some. He was working for one of these record companies. He got off like in the industry, and I think he was an A&R or something in one of these record companies. Shout out to him.
Right.
It was just like easy back in the days. I would go out just on the hangout tip, and you run into like an opportunity. Yo, I want you to come down and do this. I want you to do that. I remember one time Pete was producing this mafia guy, this guy named Italian Ice. Like he was supposed to be part of one of those crime families or whatever, but he was a rapper. And they wanted me to bring Ultramagnetic, Get a Drum or something. They wanted me to bring that record to the studio. It's nothing. Drove to the studio, brought it to Chunk King, met the dude or whatever. About a week later, I look in the mail, it's like a check for $2,500 just for bringing the record to the studio. So, it was rolling at that time.
Right. With the Pete Nice Dust to Dust, how did you think that project fared, and were you pleased with that as well?
I think I'm pleased with it. I think that was the best album that we could make at that time. I think that was the best record that we could make at that time. And I just think people wanted to see Third Base. They didn't necessarily want to see Search and Pete Nice and Daddy Rich separate.
Right.
I don't think the people got enough time to really know them as artists for them to split up like that. It was too early for that.
Right. After the Dreadnought situation and being in the executive producer's seat, where did DJ Daddy Rich find himself? Were you kind of turned off by the industry at this point?
Yeah, and at this point, I'm starting to have kids. And it's getting more and more difficult to be away and do the things that I used to. I got married, had kids, and my son, because of the environment in Brooklyn, he developed like asthma, where he would have asthma attacks like every month. He was in the hospital, and almost lost him at one point. And his mom took him to Georgia, and once he got to Georgia, his asthma went away. And at this point, I'm not sure if I'm blackballed or what, but I'm heavily into production at this point, and I'm submitting beats here, there, and everywhere. I'm not getting any placements, but then, months after, I'll hear the same sample that I use, somebody else ends up using it, and it's just like, okay. After a while, you get the hint. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me try this from Georgia. Let me go to Georgia. I go down to Georgia, hook up with DJ Nabs. You know DJ Nabs?
So Def?
Yeah, Chris Cross. Yeah. Complete gorilla on the set. Dope-ass DJ, good dude. And at the time, the Brat was looking for a DJ. So I went on tour with the Brat, went to like Japan. We were with Total and whatever, but it was just like, I don't know if we didn't really click. And it got to the point where I walked off stage during the show. It was like some crazy shit. She was like, "You'll never work in this business again," type shit, and didn't want to give me my ticket to go home and all sorts of shit. It was just crazy, but yeah, we didn't really gel and whatever. So after that, starting to do more parties and stuff and, move around Georgia and whatever. But at that time, Georgia was coming into their own, and they just wanted to do them. They didn't necessarily want some DJ from New York trying to come down there and tell them what's what or anything like that. And, just ended up where I would just have to get regular jobs. Because, you know what I mean? You have children, you gotta do what you gotta do to provide for them. Fuck your dreams. You know what I mean? They can't eat your dreams. So, trying to straddle that 9-to-5 life along with trying to, DJ and produce and whatever. And after a while, it just didn't really make sense. And then I started DJing for Lil Kim. This is like when she came out with the How Many Licks album and all that, and whatever. And like, I'll say to this day, that is one of the coolest, most down-to-earth people I've ever met in this industry. I mean, I see people talk about her, whatever, and this and that. But Lil Kim, she's a real one. She's definitely a real one. But at this point, I forgot what was going on, but it was more and more difficult because I'm still a citizen of Jamaica. So it was making it difficult for me to get visas to go to different countries and whatever. And so I had to stop DJing for Lil Kim. But yeah, she was a real one. She was cool.
Right. So what happens after the Lil Kim situation? I know you got into, did you get into the Newmark Championship at some point?
Oh, yeah. It was like wow, how the fuck did you know that? So, let's see. I got to talk to you different. So at that time, like I said, I'm down in Georgia and I'm straddling like the 9-to-5 and trying to, DJ and whatever. And some shit had went down and I'm getting ready to get kicked out of my house. And I hear on the radio, blah, 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 such and such contest. And, it's paying this much and whatever. So, like, fuck that. I need this bread. And I think Nabs was like, yo, if they know it's you, they're not going to let you in the contest or whatever. So I came up with this disguise. Like, I cut one of these Halloween masks in half and took this part and wrapped it around, just like Ludacris in that video with the old and blow.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's hanging upside down. He got that shit from me. So, what happens? I create this disguise and I invent this character called Lord Raiden. And then I start battling and whatnot. And the funny thing was, the night of the battle, my homeboy who drove me there, the car got towed. So if I didn't win this battle, we wasn't getting home. So entered the battle, won that one, and then did the Newmark battle and won that one or whatever. But this wasn't really getting no traction down there. So ended up in Columbus, Georgia, and ended up on the radio out there on Foxy 105. And making mixtapes, like traditional mixtapes, not like, like with features and, just like records and blending them or whatever. And, man, I got arrested out there like so many fucking times for that shit, man. It was just like, yeah, I was getting arrested for being ugly after a while. It was crazy.
So at what point do you go ahead? Yep.
No, go ahead.
You moved back to New York after Georgia?
I moved back to New York briefly. I think I moved back to New York and then moved back to Georgia. I came to New York and it was like a different scene and wasn't really getting no traction out here. It was like I'm sitting here on my parents' couch and shit. I can't even smuggle a broad in the house. My mother's sleeping in there watching TV. It was crazy. So I ended up coming out to Arizona to do an after party for, I think it was Fat Joe and another after party for Ja Rule. These guys I knew they were promoting and they had them down there or whatever. And shit just started clicking. Everything just became easy. Within the first week, I had a residence at a Sunday night at this club and a Tuesday night off in Scottsdale, and it was cracking for a minute. But what happened was, this is when vinyl stopped being made and people transitioned to CDs. And I just was not going to try after all these years to, start DJing on some CDs. So I figured like, okay, well, it's a wrap, because I couldn't get the music fast enough. I would order the records from like Downstairs Records. It would take like 2-3 weeks to come. And I'm DJing every Tuesday night and DJing every Sunday night. So when I first came down here, my record collection was more advanced than what dudes had down here. And then I started falling behind and it just didn't make any sense. And then they came out with Serato, and I was like, okay, cool, I can still use my turntables. This will work for me. So I started DJing again with Serato, but I don't know. It just kind of, you got to open yourself up to social media a lot. And I'm a pretty private dude.
Right.
So, yeah, so it was like, okay, how much do you want to do it? You want to take pictures of your dinner and show it to people and, show them everything that's going on in your life or whatever? And I'm just like, well, no, I'm not willing to do that.
Right. So what's keeping you in Phoenix these days?
What's keeping me here?
Yeah.
I like Phoenix. I mean, 90% of the time the sun is up. You know what I mean? That shit is good for your mood. I got my wife down here. Pretty much my whole life is down here right now.
Right. What other avenues have you been exploring outside of music?
Outside of music, I went back to school like twice. I haven't really been exploring any kind of entertainment avenues. I'm like on some real life shit, So I've been a HVAC technician for about 12 years now. Climate control, like, air conditioning and shit like that. And it keeps a roof over our head. We're doing all right.
Right. In 2021, how does DJ Daddy Rich feel about the state of DJing?
I think it's corny. Like I was saying, like in the beginning of our interview, it took a different type of individual to be a DJ. You had to make a sacrifice. While everybody else was getting fresh and buying gold chains and Jordans and shit, you had to take your money and buy equipment. You had to buy your speakers, you had to buy your turntables, and a never-ending set of records. Right now, somebody could have 10,000 records in their iTunes or whatever the hell, and that makes them a DJ. Some of the biggest DJs in the world, like DJ Academics, I've never seen him touch a pair of turntables or anything. Right? So, and then you get to like this Euro sense of DJing now, where it's not about anything but it's damn near producing and engineering on stage. With all these buttons, it looks like the Star Trek Enterprise. You look at it like somebody's mixer, like 15, 16 buttons lighting up at the same time. You could do just about anything you could do with a drum machine on one of these mixes at this point. And I just think, it's kind of like skateboarding right now, where it's like, okay, you could do a kickflip, you could do an ollie or whatever. Oh, you're a dope skateboarder. If you could do a 2-click flare or you could do this or whatever, you're a dope DJ.
Right.
Like DJs actually talk about, I got a scratch hand. What do you mean you got a scratch hand? Meaning like, yo, they only scratch with one hand. You couldn't do that back in the days. You had to be ambidextrous back in the days. Nobody came to see just somebody just scratching all night. And I think DJing and hip hop just went separate ways. You got most of these DJs when in these competitions, they're not cutting hip hop records. They're cutting some homemade records that they edited and put together, and some half techno beat and, you know, shit like that. And just the complications with all the scratches, just all the fucking noise. It's like you can't decipher what's what. You know, like just a regular listener, it's like DJs are DJing for other DJs because it's not reaching the hip hop people. It's just too wild. You know, a bunch of button pushing and you're like, where's the funk? Where's the skill? You know what I mean? Where's the skill in it? So it's corny to me.
Right. Over the years, what does DJ Daddy Rich consider his greatest achievement in the industry?
In the industry, man.
Let's say personally. Let's not use industry. Let's say personally. What's the greatest achievement musically, personally in your life?
Okay, well, I mean, I can't really like musically. All of my achievements, you know, it's one culmination. You know what I mean? I ended up with 3 gold records or whatever. This is something that not just anybody does. You know, I toured the world. I've been to every state, been to several countries. I mean, it's just one big achievement in itself.
Right.
And personally, I'm just satisfied with myself, satisfied with the man that I am. You know what I mean? All the stuff that I've been through, I'm not here crying on nobody's shoulder. I'm handle it and I'm moving on. My family's doing good. You know, I'm doing for my family. We healthy, we safe and happy. So that's my achievement right there.
Right. Hey, I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. This, like I said, is my 150th episode, and I know you're a private person, so I thank you so much for allowing us to get into DJ Daddy Rich's world. If you don't mind, do you have anything upcoming that you would like to share with the supporters that you have coming up in the near future?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Just enjoying life.
I'm enjoying life, man.
Right.
I did my time in the circus and I'm out. Yeah, man.
For those who have been rocking with you well over 30 years, is there any last words for those who still check for DJ Daddy Rich after all these years?
Man, I always appreciate the love. I appreciate, like, you know, people reaching out to me from time to time and, you know, letting me know, like, yo, they liked what I did and whatnot. And I definitely appreciate that. So, you know, much love and respect to everybody.
Thank you so much. I was trying to get Rude back in the chat. It's acting up. I wonder if he's still
Rude,
here.
Let
me see if Rude's still... Don't see him, but I salute Rude for giving us some insight to your early origins. I thank you. Like I said, thank you for everything you've done for the culture and allowing us to give you your flowers and being a stand-up, genuine guy all the way around. Anything you need, I'm around. And this has been episode 150. Thank you so much, DJ Daddy Rich.
Thank you. Salute.
Salute.